Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another show. My name is Tyler, and I'm here with Matt, the founder of ORATS. ORATS is an options analytics platform built on top of over 15 years of historical options data. Our dashboard is integrated with Tradier, meaning you can research and discover trades on our platform and then seamlessly send them through to your Tradier brokerage account. Today on the show, we're going to show you how to manage your trades with alerts in the ORATS dashboard. Matt, do you want to get us started and share your screen?
Certainly, thank you. So what we're talking about today, Tyler, is how to run a strategy that you have found through ORATS most likely. And what you can do is set up alerts to help you get in and get out. Obviously there are some automation services out there, but some people either don't like or the type of strategy doesn't warrant itself for that. So it's nice to have an alerting system to help you manage the strategies that you have out there, and that's what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, so can you go over what types of alerts this is? Is this like an email or what kind of alert is this?
Yeah, so I get text alerts, and I've just copied them into a text document here. So it'll say, hey, Matt Amberson, you have an exit trigger. There's it's your long two, short one SPXWs. I set it for 2 days before expiration, and then I say which brokerage it is and what to do in my notes. So it's kind of cool. And then this one says, this one had a profit and loss. So I could set it for days before expiration, days that you've held it. I mean, there's a bunch that we'll get into, but it comes and it will show you, pretty nice bit of information so you can make a decision what you want to do.
Nice. It looks like there's a lot to unpack there. So.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start at the beginning. Like when would you use these? So, at ORATS, we obviously have an awesome back testing platform, and now with the optimizer, and then our next iteration, maybe by the time some people are hearing this, we'll have additional alerts that will show more market level alerts. So we'll get into that too. So let's say you have a particular strategy that you like, and you say, okay, well, so this is a SPY Iron Condor. This is in our backtest tab. All of our backtests, we have over 300 million pre-canned strategies. I've kind of filtered down the days to expiration here, so I could get I don't want one really short. I don't want one really long. I find that I want to put the optimizer to the test here, so I want to use that. And it also has an exit trigger, so that's nice to have. And because the exit triggers are really one of the alerts that we're going to be setting for this. So far, so good, Tyler?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, let's use this one, 75% stop loss, 25% take profit. And you can see that here. And we're going to save this, and you could always come back to this back test to see what the rules are and everything. You could even set up a scanner for these things or whatnot, or you could use our trade ideas for your saved strategies. It will pull up only those trades that meet all the criteria. So that's pretty cool so far. So let's go through like we're going to put a strategy together. We have curated strategies, but this is how we set up the curated strategies. We go in to the back tester, we go in to the optimizer, and then we go in to the added data set. So what we're going to look for now is a good p-value that increases the average percent per day. You can barely see up here, it's 0.004% per day. That's a notional amount. It might seem small, but it's actually not one, and I'll look at that in a moment. All right, so here's the p-value in our popular, where these are the indicators that we like. Here's 0.29 and it going up to 0.013, so that's already a very good improvement. And here's 0.13 all the way up to 1/7, and that's a decent one. This is comparing the implied volatility to the ETF's implied volatility historical volatility ratio. So, and if you ever have any questions on what these mean, you can pull up Otto over here and ask, and Otto will talk to you about this. So now, what you may have
Yeah,
known.
Matt, just pause right there. I want to go over the indicators real quick. So, yeah, I think it's important to choose indicators from that list. And there's about 90 of them. Choose indicators that make sense for that strategy, right? So if you're looking at this indicator, it's talking about IV versus HV, and that kind of makes sense for an iron condor, right? Because an iron condor typically, you do want to have a ratio that's favorable, right? You don't need to know exactly what that is, right? Or in particular, but it's nice to have it sort of make sense in the context of the strategy.
Right. You don't want to pick out a strategy that doesn't make sense. This one, if you have an iron condor, you want your historical volatility or the amount the stock's moving in the right context for this particular
Yeah,
ratio down here.
and the p-value is sort of a second check for that. And I think if you have any questions, just ask Otto about the indicator. Otto knows all of our indicators and is very helpful there. So I that's usually how I like to use it too, Matt. It's just asking Otto about the indicators. Hey, is this indicator a good one to pick for an iron condor strategy? And you can generally get a better idea there.
Yeah. So we'll let Otto go. So I was going to explain what this graph is. So the gold line is the actual back test that we saw in the other screen, and the green line is the equity line for the back test, only trading on these green areas, which is when the ETF IV is versus the SMA is in a correct area. So, it's picked out, it looks quite good. So, and the p-value is low. I like it. Some people like it at 5, 10. I like it anything less than 20. Otherwise, you don't find that many. And this already kind of looks good to me. So, and then Otto came back with a good involved answer, saying what it is, why it's good for iron condor. So that this looks like a good indicator that we could run with. So what I would do now is save this back test. So it's this iron condor 1040, and if you go in your save back test and you could type down SPY iron condor, and I could see right here is the iron condor, the Sharpe ratio, and what the average daily returns are. Interestingly, it's red. Do you want to explain what that means, Tyler?
Yeah, so on the left-hand side there, there's either a red scan button or a green scan button. A red scan button means that it's not currently meeting the entry criteria that's established in both the optimizer that you just did and or the back test that you have, the original back test. So like if it had some entry triggers established in the original back test. So it looks at both of those entry triggers, entry criteria, and checks to see if it's meeting those. If it is, it'll show you a green scan button, sort of indicating that it's a good time to enter the trade.
Right. So, what Tyler's talking about is like there aren't any indicators on the actual back test. So when we look at that, if we click on it just in general, it'll pull up the optimizer, and we could see that it's not green. It's actually in, and I can reduce this a little bit, see it better.
You might have to zoom in a little there.
Yeah. So it's out of the green area, right? So it's not in, this is the SMA. It's the 20 versus the 50. That's just what this optimized. and it's not in a situation where it wants to trade this right now. So, which is good. So, so then we say, okay, well, what should we do? Well, let's do this. Let's go back again. We'll type SPY. I have a lot. So, Iron Condor. I want to go. Let's just simulate a trade here. So I could scan for options here, and it sets up this entire back test criteria, brings it into our scanner right now, and then you could choose various rankings. Like I like to use forecast and risk reward pop. So this is my favorite in this particular this happens every time. Strategy scan. So now, so we have paper trading. We have what price it is. This is the latest price. We know what the SMV is, so it looks reasonable. Maybe we could go down. I'll even go all the way there, and you create a force trade, and forcing it means it's going to fill. And then what I could also do is add the alerts. So if you recall, we had a trade alert that if we got to 25%, we would exit. So I'll create an alert there. We also had an alert if it got to negative, it got below negative 75, we would, that's our stop loss. So we would get out. And then I would say, paper, I like to put which broker, and then, why we did it. We were in Tradier Hub, back test optimization. This is our exit. So then I know if this hits, so then I'll send this trade off to the paper trader. It fills. Now I have these trades on. I already have another trade on here. And you could tell that the icon A means there's an alert. If it's dimmed out, it's already traded that, or it's already made that alert. So, and then you could go check your exit alert. So this one already completed. That's why it's faded out. But this one's checking for exits, so it's looking for those profits. So what will happen is if those trigger, we'll get a trigger like this, and we'll get the trade profit and loss hit whatever percentage that matches these rules that we have on. If the market width is within the right area. So if it widens out, you don't want to get alerted. So that's a neat kind of protection that we have on those alerts. Anything from you, Tyler, on this?
Yeah, so that's mainly where our alerts are coming into play here, is on the exits, right? So as it currently stands, we don't have any alerts for order entries, but we're working on that stuff.
Yeah.
But right now we're looking at alerts for exits, and that stuff that you saw in the trade sidebar in that drop down. You can restore from your last alert. You can restore from your history, and then you can choose from things like we have trade specific alerts. Maybe you can go over that drop down a little bit more, Matt, and show users the different types of alerts.
Yeah, good point. So I could edit these alerts that we have on already, and you could add certain things like so I could go to my history. And here's the history one. So if I keep having these, I could just go get this one, and it says when it's created. You could sort on it. It's really, really convenient. So you could pull up other things, and you can see 2 days before expirations there. And I'm normally using a profit and loss, but there's a lot more, especially if you're trading earnings. There are alerts that before an event, like before an earnings date or a conference or an ex-dividend or a split. That's another alert before you could get alerted before or after. So I use that during earnings season when you have an earnings trade on, you want to get out the next day. So you would set something up like that. So there's also an indicator alert. So if contango is above or below a certain part, or like a bunch of these other ones, you could have it alert you. These are from our SMV summaries data. So this is updating all the time. So these are ones that we watch. So if something there changes, you could get out. Like if contango goes, meaning if the front month goes to backwardation, you could get alerted, and this isn't an iron condor probably isn't a good place to be, so you could get alerted for that. So that's really handy. That's the indicator alerts. There are leg alerts. So you could just look at one leg. The legs. We have 4 legs here, so I could say the call is number 2, the short call, and I could say if that profit is 85%, I want to get out. So that's really handy. Again, you could get out just based on one leg or a time alert, and that's what I was doing before. 2 days before expiration, 3 days before or after entry. So Tyler, good point. There, a lot of other alerts that you could use to really manage your positions, and it allows you to put on more, and it allows you to have more feelings of control. Even if you're not near your desk, you could get a text, or we could talk about that, how to set up your settings. So if you go to resources and settings, you can go and see when you want to get notifications. Like you could get them, you put in your phone number, you put your text messages, you put your email preference. You could even get emailed, or these are just push notifications that happen when you have the website open. It'll show you when you get filled. So there's a lot of things going on here that are really nice, Tyler.
Yeah, the exit alerts are really cool because, like you said, you can get them anywhere and hop back on your dashboard and start trading. But yeah, it's great. Thanks for demonstrating that.
Yeah. So I think the next thing is that we could start to show where we're going with this. So what we've shown you is how to get in and out based on kind of alerts for profit and alerts for days to expiration or after entry, if a leg is in the money, if there's a technical indicator. But now what we're developing is, if you're in a strategy, you could then favorite the strategy, and it will give you alerts when the strategy is met or when it goes out of favor. You want to talk about that a little bit, Tyler?
Yeah, so we're going to give you a little bit of insight into where we're going with the alerts, because we want to take it a step further. We have some great exit alerts, but with this new optimizer, we're presented with an opportunity to deliver a really great entry alerting system. So right here, Matt's pulled up the most recent version of the dashboard that we're working on internally. It has a favorites column on the left there, and the strategies that you like and favorite, you're going to be able to get entry alerts on. So the same way that we deliver exit alerts, will be able to deliver an entry alert to you. And that will be, a trade. It can be, or just like, this is time to enter this strategy. And that's going to be really cool, because you can, now just have entries and exits, and the whole system kind of starts coming into play. It's really going to make our optimizer pop, and it really going to make you'll get exit alerts on the optimizer indicators too, not just the trade indicators that you've set up in the sidebar. You'll get entry and exit indicators from the optimizer strategy. So that's going to be really cool.
So it's almost like a set it and forget it, right? So it can send you alerts. So like I have a portfolio of strategies that I have favorited here, and I'm waiting. I'm in a lot of these, and I'm waiting for a lot more to come in. So these red ones are not in, so to speak. The criteria, the indicators that we talked about before, are not meeting the criteria. It's not green, if you remember back to the optimizer. So I'm waiting on these, and then when they trigger, I'll get an alert, and then I could go trade that trade for this particular alert. So it's a really nifty, handy system to make your trading more convenient and consistent, and so you can better match back test and the optimized back test that we've set up. So that's the goal for these things.
Yeah, and we're really banking on this optimizer functionality, and I think we're really diving into it because it's such a great tool. And if you guys haven't tried the optimizer yet, you really should, because it takes the workflow of going from a backtest from the backtest finder. There's over 300 million of them. You can find them, find the best one for your strategy. Going from that and then optimizing it with the ORATS indicator set, which we have 90 of them, 90 of the best ones in the optimizer. You can choose then set the moving average of those indicators, and it's super technical and precise. With the p-value, you're getting really great statistically significant results. And I think it's one of the best ways to find entries and exits for your strategies.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of setting up what I'd like to look at. So this is a short put spread now. I've set some filters to get a short put spread that I like. So this is something that I would consider. I could tell that this isn't going to optimize well because it's basically just following the stock, and it's really hard to optimize, predict where the stock's going. But we still might want this type of what should I say, correlation to the SPY. So the p-values you can see are pretty high. You're not going to get very good p-values there. So there are ways that you when you get used to it, that you could say, well, I know that this is a short put spread. Maybe I want it more out of the money. And
that's how the optimizer is robust, right? It's because it's intuitive that a stock return, especially for a stock as popular as SPY, is going to be really hard to predict, no matter which indicators you have.
Right.
So something that matches the stock return, something that's highly correlated to the stock return, is going to have p-values that indicate that this indicator's entry and exit signals are just luck. And that's what the p-value indicator means.
Yeah. And this is like 50-50 right here. So the p-value means like what's the percentage that this optimizer is by chance. And so it's over 50%. So that isn't that good. I still sometimes will pull it up and just say, well, like would this have been a really good time to like avoid certain markets? And it does avoid certain crashes here. So this particular this particular indicator. So you'll also notice that it doesn't do that much better than the regular one, but the Sharp is going to be the Sharp is going to be better. So for example, and Sortino. So even though first of all the daily return is almost doubled, but the overall return, the margin return is about the same. It's slightly better, but we're only in the market about half of the time, 46% of the time.
It's all about that risk-adjusted return.
Right. That's the whole point. And what measures risk-adjusted? Sharp and Sortino. Sharp is like the return divided by the standard deviation, and Sortino only measures the down days, so it doesn't hurt you for being more volatile to the downside. And the volatility is about half. So this still might be a decent strategy. Again, I'm not crazy about the p-value, but that's sometimes it's very hard to find a p-value of something that's so correlated to the stock price. So
yeah,
I still might say that, just to check it out, because like again, the drawdown on this, the max drawdown is only 3%. It's only like about 9% even with all this, without any optimization. So, I'll take 3% drawdown, 27% marginal return. So, again, I could save that, and then that becomes a in my list. And then when the favorites come, I could then watch that particular strategy and see if it's something that I want to be in today. Because right now you could tell that I'll kind of zoom in a little bit, but you could tell that we're not green right now. We're right here. And so that means, the SMA in this particular case is above. And so what this indicator is the 20-day volatility, historical volatility. We use Parkinson for this. Divided by the 90-day is the indicator. So that's the gray. And then the 20-day, it's kind of like, what this is showing is the stock is a little bit too volatile. The 20-day is higher than the 90-day. So, it got out when it started getting ugly here, which is nice. It protected you from this. You still got ding there, but, you missed a little bit there. And then if I zoom back out, I'm just rolling my roller, by the way, to zoom out. And then, you missed this one. That was nice. That's it. And then you got dinged in some others, but this is this is a decent. It's kind of slow because it's 20 days and 40 days, and it's already a 20-day historical volatility. But again, this is and there are other. You could look at other indicators, but again, the p values are not too hot on these other ones. There's a 5-day that you could also throw in there, but again, I think I'm pretty good with, I like this payoff stream. If you want some, positive, if you need some deltas or you want some positive correlation to the SPY.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike is asking about the estimated timeline for the entry alerts. I'd say, probably about a month. We're rolling out internally this week, and we're going to be testing it over the next few weeks. And I'd say about a month.
Yeah. So, and that's going to be very fun. I'll tell you how it's going. I get to test it, Mike. So I'll tell you how it's going. But like I'm looking forward to it because as Mike knows and other people that use our platform, it has some amazing tools, but some of them require quite a bit of hands-on. This is getting you hands-off, and then you can almost get to kind of an automated trading thing. And we should also tease out that eventually we'll go to webhooks, and what that means is with a webhook you can then drive some other platforms that are have automated trading, and most of those have webhook built in. What a webhook is when I get a signal on my text, we do a machine signal to tell that your automated trading service, if you have one, that you could trade. So that's down the road even farther. I hate to tease those out because Mike will be bothering us for those. Not bothering us, Mike.
Well, it's really exciting to see where we're going, and a lot of it's betting on this optimizer. So if I was a viewer, I would get really good at using the optimizer because that's the future of all this.
And we're going to be
the optimizer.
Yeah, and we're going to be providing. I mean, you've made it a lot faster, Tyler. So we're going to be providing, more curated strategies. So you could just, so you could look from an investing standpoint. You could look at, okay, what types of strategies do I want to have, and what types do I want to have together, and then you could run these, run your option strategies much more efficiently. I mean, some of the some knocks on even trading options is you have to be there looking at your screen, but with this stuff you don't need to as much. So we're moving our research towards that, and we how we are differentiated ORATS from other platforms is we have all these indicators. No one else has these quality indicators. I've focused on this since I was a trader on the floor of the SIBO in the 90s. So we've been developing these for a long time. So that's where we're going. I think that's the best way to trade. And as we get the automation, then we can support all these awesome tools, Tyler.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. It's very exciting to see, where this is going. We're excited to roll out some of these new features to you guys over the next few months. Really, really great. So,
awesome.
If you guys haven't tried out the tool, it's dashboard.orats.com is the link to the dashboard. You can sign up on our website, orats.com, and just look for the trading tools, and you'll get access to the latest optimizer, the backtest finder with 300 million backtests, and a bunch of other tools, scanning, paper trading, broker integrations, all that. So if you guys have any questions, definitely try asking Otto first. Otto is now on the dashboard in the top right corner. It can help with definitions of indicators, strategies, where the tools are, and help with your account. A lot of stuff like that. If you guys have any more questions, you can ask in the community, leave a comment on the YouTube, or email support@orats.com. We're excited for you guys to try out all these new things that we just released in the dashboard, and we welcome your feedback. Thanks, Matt, for another show, and thank you, Tradier, for hosting us. We'll see you guys again next week.
Thanks, Tyler.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.